Hi, my name is Dr. Leah Cunningham. I'm an emotional health and wellness educator, and I teach emotional health and wellness life lessons. What are life lessons? Typically regarding unresolved emotional trauma. I'll show you the plan, the path, and the destination to get you where you need to be. And as always, thank you for taking a little of your time to share with mine. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening, everyone. So I have a couple of announcements to make. First of all, I want to say thank you all for being in the room. You guys are showing up. So apparently you come to hear something because you need something and you're right in the right place. You are in the right place. I have something I want to share with you and I want you to share with me. Before we get started, there are going to be a couple of ground rules, and my workshops are mostly, no, not mostly, they are only for women. I work with midlife women and the areas of emotional trauma where we want to be able to be healthy and whole. And we talk about a lot of things because this is a safe space. So it's specifically and only for women. All right. So welcome to all of you to Pockets of Peace. And first of all, I just want to say to you, how many have peace? I'm just going to just come straight out. This is going to be an interactive, engaging communication workshop. I have a lot of information I want to share with you, but I want you to tell me right from the jump, those of you who enter this room, and I want you to be honest. I want you to put in the chat, first of all, put in the chat, where you're from and so forth. I want to know where you're from. Put also in the chat, do you have peace? And then we're gonna go from there. Just say, just yay or nay. Sometimes want it, trying to get it, had it, can't get it back. Something. I just want to see your thought, your pattern of hoping for peace or wanting peace, or do you have it? Do you acknowledge it? I want us to sometimes, great, thank you. I want us to recognize how sometimes we identify peace or look for peace. But before we even start talking about peace, we need to talk about where we are and why there is a search for peace or a hunger for peace. Okay, hang on. And the significance about that is about trying to get somewhere without identifying where you are. So even if you arrive there, would you know it? So we need to know why we're searching for peace. We need to know when we got there, when we arrived there, what it should look like. And if we don't know where we are, how will we even know when we get it? How will we even know how to go about getting it? How will we know what path to take to get it? So let's talk about a little bit where we are first. This workshop is called that is the Midlife Women's Destination, a Transformational Life. That's our destination, a transformational life that has peace. Because we talk about, or I talk about and share with women about where we are and arriving at transformational lifestyle. Because transformational is not necessarily just a moment, it's a lifestyle. But we can appreciate lifestyles if we don't recognize lifestyles that we first have. So let me give you a little bit of content with this so that you know where I'm going. When we think about our lives as women and the things we've endured, the things that we have experienced, the things that we had to see, the things we've had to say no to, yes to, the things that we've been controlled by, the things that we never signed up for, but were put in positions for, the things that our childhoods and our college years and our early lives, before we got to this space, the things that caused us to be who we are now. And what I mean by that is that we only get to this midlife era of our lives because we now have the ability and the time and the adult mindset to stop and look at our lives. And we see over the course of years and growing up and experiences that we have endured a lot. And in some way, and somehow, in some form or fashion, we kind of lost us. We kind of lost us. And what I mean by that, we had intentions of what our life would look like. We had ideas, we had hopes, we had dreams, things we want to accomplish. And I'm not saying that we may not have already done so. I'm not saying that we may not still be on pursuit. But somewhere along the line, if we're looking for peace, that has no longer been a part of it. And we get to these ages where we have the ability or we have the mindset now, we need to look over our shoulders and we're able to look over our shoulders and see some of the things that kind of took us from being able to acquire peace or at least to be able to find it, hold on to it, or to create it. So we are at places and phases of our life that we are transitioning from because now we have the ability to do so. And I mean, when we have the ability is because we're at this point of life where we're more in control of it more than we think. But as adults, we get a chance to make more decisions. As adult in the midlife area of adulthood, we get a chance to realize we need to make some decisions. In midlife women lives, we need to realize I can make a decision about my life and it's not selfish. It's not selfish. It's not just being just about you. It's being for you. Because if you won't be your best cheerleader at midlife, when will we be? Not because we didn't try before now, not because we didn't want it before now, but as we say, life be lifing. But at some point, life just can't be lifing. It just cannot keep be lifing because then we end up losing a little bit of us along the way. So it's at this point we get a chance to say, you know what, this is going to have to be about me. So I can show up better for myself, then I can show up better for other people. The thing about that is, and we think that peace or transformation is just something we arrive and that's all there is. Now, let me tell you a little about transformation because I went from transition. Okay, those that follow me as an emotional health and wellness educator, I have a 5 concept framework that I teach: introspection, awareness, transition, transformation, and then essentialism. I'm not going over all that right now. Previous workshops and things on my YouTube will share that with you. But I just made a big, excuse me, I just made a summary about transition, what we're transitioning from. So when we're transitioning from something that we don't no longer need or does no longer suit us or is no longer our lives, it's just something that we arrived at as those ages where we were arriving into adulthood, but it's not really us. We're transitioning from that to transformation. And what transformation is, it's clarification of where you've been. Some people have said is transformation imagery. I mean, you can, envision something that you would like. Of course, that's fine. But transformation is much more than that. It's more solidified. It is being able to get clarification of where you've been. Because if you don't know where you've been or the circumstances surrounding it, then you won't know when you arrived at transformation. Tell me more about the transition. Tell me more about transformation. Tell me more about the search for peace, or tell me just more specifically about your search for peace or where you've been. Okay.
Hi, question.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you elaborate on um what it looks like when you get to peace, but like you have old challenges. Like sometimes it can be really hard when you're in a place that you're like, this is a good place, but then something happens and it feels like you're kind of going back to old habits or like trying to, retest those old boundaries, I guess. Like going back to what's familiar, but it's not necessarily good for you when you're in a better place.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the question. Okay, great. So, what does peace look like, and how do you avoid something that may be familiar but not necessarily peace, and not necessarily going back to old habits? That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. And let me start with kind of what I was leading with when I talk about clarification and where we've been. So if you have an understanding about where you've been and why you were in or enduring some of the things that you went through, if we went through troubled periods of life that caused us hardships, that caused us to be abused, that caused us to have um, ill will about certain people, if it caused us to have trauma, like for me, I'll give you for instance, my dad walked out on me, my siblings, and my mom when I was 8 years old and left me with abandonment issues. And those abandonment issues subsequently morphed into rejection issues and trust issues. And as growing up, I established very limited relationships with people of opposite sex, men of opposite sex, because I felt like they always would leave me first before I got to know them or I had a chance to leave them. So I never had long-term relationships. I just left them first. And then going through what was necessary to get an understanding, clarification about that scenario, I had to realize once I did the work that that was about my dad and his inability to be a good dad or be the dad I needed. So once I got clarification about that scenario, that was that, and then this is not that. You see? So once you understand what those areas of your life were, if and when you get transformational living and you see something similar, you won't respond the exact same because this is not that. You have a clarification of what took place when that was what it was. And every situation futuristically will not be the same. So when you go from that transformation of understanding, then you can continue to create your pockets of peace. So the second part to answering your question, your peace is something you create in the midst of your life. And it should take you out of whatever it is that you are enduring or currently living or currently experiencing. It's created. Let me take a pause right there. I want you to think about that. And I'm gonna put a two-part to that. I want you to also think about what it should look like because women, if you are in search of it, back to my original question, how will you know that you have it? I'm looking for something particular. I already know the answer, obviously, but it's not a big $1 million answer. It's sometimes something we overlook. So I want someone to put this in the chat or to come off mute. I'll take you off mute. I want you to tell me what that would look like. If you have an understanding about where you were, now what does it look like in search of peace? What is it supposed to look like for you? If you know you don't have it, so you're looking for something, how will you know? Tell me. Somebody tell me. Okay, so I did get someone say would feel good and relaxing. Okay, feel good and relaxing. That's good. Okay, great. You're not gonna make me do all the work tonight. All right, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so let me try to restate some of this. First of all, if we're looking for something, you can only look for something that you knew you had at one point, right? You're only going to look for something that you knew you had at one point. You can't typically look for something that you never had because you didn't know you're missing it. You see? You didn't, you don't know that you missed something. You can't miss something you've never had. So therefore, you realize at some point in my life, I had peace, and I no longer have it. So with that being said, tell me then your search for peace, what it should look like, because I know what it looks like for me. I want to know what it looks like for you. And I also want you to realize that if you're looking for it, if you jumped on here for me to tell you about pockets of peace, this is what I'm telling you. And I have a crescendo ending, if you will, but I'm trying to pull from you because it's in you. You know what your search is. You know what you had at some point or what you longed for or what you thought it would be or should be. And you're like, this, what in the world? What is this? And we often sometimes just it's like a light bulb goes on and we're thinking, what is really going on? And you realize there's some intricate pieces of your life that's missing.
Yes,
So,
Dr. Cunningham, Professional Services.
thank you so much. I'm honored to be here with you.
Join me in welcoming Dr. Leah Riddick